Hello, my name is Dr. Bafaras from the National University of Ireland, Galway, and I'm the coordinator of the SEAFUEL project. SEAFUEL is the sustainable integration of renewable fuels in local transportation. It is an European project funded by Interreg Atlantic Area with a budget of €3.6 million. The project aims at producing alternative fuels like hydrogen using renewable resources in island communities, which are mainly targeting solar energy and wind energy to produce hydrogen. The hydrogen as an alternative fuel is a zero carbon emission fuel that can substitute petrol and diesel, and you can use that to power zero carbon fleets in isolated communities. The project is composed of 10 partners and 5 partner organizations, which comprise of the quadruple helix. So there are partners from academia, partners from industry, partners from local government, and organizations that are non-governmental agencies from different regions in the Atlantic area. So the partners are coming from the UK, Ireland, Portugal, and Spain, and our main focus is on island communities.
Foster, and I'm a member of the University of Liverpool team, and our role in the SEAFUEL project is primarily work package 4. So we're based in the Stevenson Institute for Renewable Energy, a research centre looking at the physics and chemistry behind the new energy storage and generation technologies. So our primary role in work package 4 is to investigate the feasibility of a seawater electrolyser. So current electrolyser technologies require ultra-pure water feeds, and this usually necessitates either desalination or additional purification steps. And so we're quite interested in looking at ways to electrolyse either seawater or impure water directly, so that we can avoid these purification steps. This may be particularly useful for isolated communities who don't have ample supplies of potable water or existing desalination technology.
My name is Wen Ming Tong. I'm a postdoctoral researcher located at National University of Ireland, Galway. I am primarily responsible for developing a new electrocatalyst for water oxidation reaction. So at the moment we are working to reduce the cost. We're trying to use less abundant and cheaper ion-based catalyst for water oxidation reaction for SEAFUEL project.
My name is Sadiqi Arami. I'm working on SEAFUEL project with Dr. Bafaras. My responsibility in this project is to prepare some water photooxidation catalyst, and we are going to bring renewable energy to the transportation during this project. Till now, we are synthesizing some new photocatalysts, and we are going to first purify them and then study their application as WOC or water oxidation catalyst.
I'm Bill Ireland from Logan Energy. We are designing and integrating a system to produce the hydrogen fueling station for the SEAFUEL project as work package 4, and in work package 5 we're also modifying some electric vehicles to make them hydrogen fuel cell range extended electric vehicles. Part of the problem with the hydrogen economy at the moment, and actually practically delivering it, is the availability of vehicles that operate, that run off hydrogen as a fuel. So a lot of manufacturers are concentrating in particular areas or regions around the world to focus their deployment of vehicles so they can concentrate their technical support for them. And so part of the issue is actually getting the availability of vehicles supported by manufacturers. So that's why we're having to convert some existing electrical vehicles to be hydrogen range extended vehicles. So I think one of the main things around the learning from SEAFUEL is the ability to generate hydrogen is there. The problems we have is actually doing it at scale. This is a relatively small production facility of hydrogen, producing between 5 and 10 kilos a day, which is enough for the vehicles that we have. But actually, to do it economically, we need to do it at a much larger scale.
Achieved so far is the planning of the fueling station, which will be installed down in Tenerife. We've worked with both the manufacturing company for the fueling station itself and the suppliers to bring certain key components together to ensure that the fueling station can be built on time and deployed into the intersite on Tenerife. The station itself will be operated through solar power, and it will have a feed of water for a process called electrolysis to create hydrogen from that renewable resource. So far, the project is going very well. We think the project should be realised towards the end of the first quarter in 2020, and then we'll operate it for at least 6 months. And with a number of vehicles, I think the number of vehicles is going to be 5 or 6, and the vehicles will then operate for it, doing maintenance work on their solar panels and other wind installations around the island.
My name is Rocío Castelo. I am here because of ITER. ITER is the partner in charge of the Work Package 4. Tenerife will be the demonstration area. We have there the hydrogen refueling station and also the hydrogen vehicles.
Hi, I'm Aaron Carnahan. I work for Action Renewables as a senior project manager. I have worked on several European projects, so this is a very interesting one. The first one I've worked on with hydrogen. Action Renewables are responsible for the project capitalisation. So what we're doing is we're putting together a range of outputs based on the work of the project, things like toolkits, so that people can copy what we do and see if it helps them to put together an electrolyser and use hydrogen in their own area. We've also looked at case studies from around the world. We've looked at Orkney, Aberdeen, Iceland, and we're looking at others as we speak to investigate those and use examples that we can pick up from those and helping other people to develop similar models in the future.
I'm from Energy Cooperatives Ireland, and I'm working with Corchum and Ilan Oren on the SEAFUEL project. And what we found is that, first of all, there's a lot of local interest in the SEAFUEL program, particularly for the islands, which have a huge energy deficit. And the community there is very excited with the idea that there would be the potential for energy to be produced locally, clean green energy using seawater, which we have a lot of. But also we found that SEAFUEL is one of the earlier projects in Ireland in hydrogen, and it stimulated a lot of interest amongst our policymakers and amongst our stakeholders in general. The Irish government has become very interested in it. We've had dealings with the grid, the people who regulate the grid in Ireland. They're fascinated by the potential for hydrogen as an energy storage, as well as coping with intermittency in remoter areas such as the Aran Islands. And I think that things have gone extremely well. that the experiences that we've been able to bring from SEAFUEL have created, I suppose, a foundation for a very exciting hydrogen matrix within Ireland. So if we can crack that particular nut, we would be well on the way to realising the goals of the Aran Islands in general, which is to become carbon neutral in the near future. They can't do it without solving that ferry problem. Those ferries, there's no electric at the moment. There's no electric technology that's suitable for the ocean environment, because we're talking about the North Atlantic, which is pretty fierce. We're following the example of the Shetlands and the Orkney Islands, and we are very confident that there will be, within 5 years, there should be very exciting news in the Aran Islands with regard to ferries and the replacement of diesel.
Our work on the project, on the SEAFUEL project, involves looking at tourist preferences for hiring hydrogen fuel cell vehicles on the island of Tenerife. So we have some interesting findings on what their perceptions are of the challenges, the benefits to having hydrogen cars on the island. From the tourist perspective, they said that they would have range anxiety in terms of the travel distance that they would need to drive to a hydrogen station to refuel their vehicle. And this is something that we see in the literature a lot. And they also talk about information, knowledge on hydrogen, what is hydrogen, the source of hydrogen. They had a general positive perspective on hydrogen. They thought it was a good thing, less CO2 emissions, so they had a general sense of it being a green energy.
Sou da ARIAN, da Agência Regional de Energia e Ambiente da Região Autónoma da Madeira. Nós somos responsáveis pelo Work Package 6, no SEAFUEL, que é o hidrogênio, Regulation and Policies, e nós estamos a criar um guia para que possamos apresentar às autoridades locais e regionais para introduzir o hidrogênio no mercado para que possa ser utilizado como um vetor energético no futuro.
La agencia es el líder de comunicación del proyecto SEAFUEL y se encarga de coordinar todas las acciones de divulgación del proyecto y de difusión pública de todos los socios a nivel europeo, intentando maximizar los resultados y darlos a conocer a la población, además de contribuir a la sostenibilidad y replicabilidad del proyecto en otras regiones. También la agencia, dada su experiencia en sensibilización pública, se encarga de llevar a cabo y coordinar las acciones relacionadas con sensibilización de la población y desarrollo de herramientas TICs que permitan contribuir a la sensibilización pública.
SEAFUEL officially started in December 2017, and since the last 2 years we have learned a few things that are very important to be able to replicate projects like SEAFUEL in other regions. But one of the things that was more challenging for us was the incorporation of this new technology in a community which was not familiar with this technology. So during these 2 years we've done a lot of dissemination activities with schools, with the general public, to make sure that people are aware of the advantages of hydrogen, and in particular that they are not supposed to be scared. They are not to be scared of the safety regulations around hydrogen. Another challenge that we have faced is the fact that because islands are small markets for companies, there are most of the manufacturing companies of hydrogen technologies. They see islands as a very small market, So it is on the end of the queue of the markets that they are trying to invest in. So one of the ways that we have solved this issue was, for example, in terms of the vehicles that we are going to use in the Canary Islands. So instead of having vehicles that are commercially available from car manufacturers, what we have decided to do is to take electric vehicles, and within the partners of the project, we have the expertise to convert these electric vehicles into vans that are using hydrogen as the main fuel. So I think that with the lessons that we have learned in the last 2 years, we are now in a position in which we can replicate the SEAFUEL model to other regions in the Canary Islands, but also in other islands in the Atlantic coast, but also elsewhere in the world.